This is AE4JC with an HT rundown. I'm getting ready to go to a Hamfest, and I decided to collect all the HTs that I have onto this table here and decided if I want to keep them. And putting them there, realized that each one had a reason, so I'll try to go through one at a time and the reason why I purchased them. All right, starting over here, before we get into the HTs, I've got here a best practice. So all of the HTs that I have here that are VHF, UHF, I've got here a BNC connector that I use on all of them. So I'll use the female BNC here with the male BNC on the antenna. That's my standard. That way I can use these mag mounts, or I can use these window clips that Into MAK had recommended. They work great. I can swap around all my antennas. I like using the signal sticks. Those are nice. I've only been a ham for about 3 years, and this is what I've accumulated. It all started with this guy right here, this UV5R. And currently with this UV5R, I'm using it with a Mobilinkd TNC connected to this Android device by Bluetooth. I keep this in the console of my truck, and it runs APRS. So if I wanted to send a message to our friend Mike, test, we would use this. We'd use that device right there. So that works awesome, and it keeps track of my APRS as I go around in my vehicle. So that all goes together with there. Next one that I bought, so I bought this one just as the standard radio in my truck, just when I was getting started. And I've got a, if you go to my QRZ page, there's a picture of that with all the accessories and a link to everything I use with that in my truck. All right. Next radio that I purchased was this F8 HP. So it's got 8 watts, and I used this when I was first starting in satellites. I thought I needed extra power, and really all you need to work satellites is 5 watts and a decent antenna. I use an elk antenna. I've used an arrow antenna, but ultimately you don't need a lot of power. I even thought that I was going to need this. I created this thing with a couple amps that I could hook in with a battery pack and get 25 watts, but didn't need any of that for the satellites. You just need a good antenna and a good radio. So it was about that time when I was messing with that I realized I needed a good radio, and some operators on X, they recommended this one. This is the Kenwood THD72, and this is the radio that I use with working FM satellites. So I'll plug that into my elk antenna, and I've got it pre-programmed with different frequencies there, and works great. So super with that. Next up, this guy here. So I bought this guy. This does 220 megahertz. A friend around here was putting up a repeater for the 220 band, and I didn't have anything that would do 220, so I bought this radio for that. And his repeater had some problems, so we're not even using it anymore. And then that extended battery pack came from my Hamfest. Somebody had one of those in a box. This guy here is GMRS.
Channel mode.
So Baofeng for GMRS. A big difference here is the Baofengs versus these other radios. This guy's a $26 radio. This one's maybe $30, $30, $40. Same here. And then you get into these. This guy here was like $500. This was $300. So these guys are the expensive folks. I don't want to leave out my Sport Cat. I've had this radio since I was very young. So I don't know. It was late 80s, early 90s, and the battery still works. It's crazy. But I'll program that guy in. I just keep it around here because it's old. Also got involved with these KV 4P HTs. I got kits to do 5 of them. This guy here is working currently. This is my current working unit. I just talked to someone about 10 miles away through a repeater with that little tiny antenna there. So this thing is really cool, and it does APRS. You can do APRS chat, and so there's lots of videos out on the internet about that guy. But very cool. So I've got this one where I broke the phone. I gave one away. This one's ready to be built, and this is a kit I'm ready to maybe sell that at the Hamfest or give away. I don't know. We'll see. Next up is the Yaesu. So we've got the Yaesu FT5D. This is my home station. So I plug this in with a headset, put it through one of those little BTECH amps like that, and I'll run APRS, incorporate it into net traffic. I've always got it on, and if anything's going on 520, I'll hear it. It clicks over, and so that's a nice radio, and it's the only one that I have that will do. Well, it's not the only one, but it was the first one I had to do Yaesu System Fusion Digital. Next up here is the BTECH. DMR 6x2. It's the Pro, I believe it is. So this is a super radio for DMR. So I've got it programmed with DMR. I've got it programmed with analog channels and DMR scanning through there. Don't hear anybody on right now, but I love the way this radio sounds. So I'm going to keep this guy just because it sounds good. It also gets out pretty well, and it's the only HT that I have that has DMR on it. All right, let's turn him off. All right, next up here, wanted to get into D-Star with HTs. There's a D-Star repeater local, and so the first one I bought was this one. This is the ID50, and I like this radio. It's got a nice form factor. It's expensive, but not as expensive as that one, and it works good. So I've got it programmed to a local reflector. There's some traffic coming through it a minute ago, but nobody's on now. I don't want to. So then we got this little hand mic with it. It works nice. And then this one here is the ID52 Plus. This guy here is the most expensive radio I have, and it does some amazing things. I have a lot to learn with it, but I think going to the Hamfest, I'm going to set both of these up there, and if somebody wants to buy one, they can have it. I'll let them choose which one I keep. Both of these are really cool radios, and both of them are capable of doing the D-Star. So that is the HT rundown. Of course, various accessories, trying to program. What I really wanted to do with all this stuff is to be able to work all the digital modes. So we have that with System Fusion, DMR, and both of these will do D-Star. APRS has a lot to do with these too. I got into this because this is really what I expected to see coming into the hobby. I expected to see a radio that was incorporated with Android, and this is as close as I found to that without in an HT form. So this is the type of thing that I'm looking for. I'd ideally like to see all of this incorporated into this, and not going through a hotspot, but actually using RF getting out to either by simplex or through repeaters. And all these radios had to do with trying to make that happen. So again, started with a UV5R, bumped up to 8 watts for satellites.
Channel mode.
This was because we had a 220 repeater in the area.
Frequency mode.
This is because I wanted to get into APRS and a Winlink email. This here, of course, GMRS. If you want to do GMRS, you got to have a radio for that. The old Sport Cat. This one was satellites, so full duplex for satellites. This guy here, APRS, and incorporation with a nice little kit incorporation with Android. This one, Yaesu System Fusion and APRS. It also uses it for the home station. This guy here, DMR, and these two here are for D-Star. And like I said, one of these guys is for sale. Actually, both of them, just not sure which one will go first. And that's the HT rundown at the AE4JC Shack 7.3.